Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. We are back. We're finally back. It is about 10 days to Red Wings hockey, and the NHL season is in 9 days. We just made it. We made it through the summer. And let me tell you, the Winged Octopus team were crawling to the finish line, literally crawling. Trust me. I am Max, your most amazing host of this show of the Winged Octopus live YouTube. And with me tonight, our team members, Tyler, Michael, Kayla, and John. So I'm going to start off with John. How are you tonight, good sir?
I am doing good. I'm ready for Red Wings hockey to be back. How about you?
Me too, my man. Me too. I need a beer right now, but we're not going to get into that right now. I don't want the viewers thinking that I still didn't fix my problem. Anyway, Kayla, how are you? I know we've got a birthday coming up in 5 hours.
Yes, we do. I'm doing good, except for the fact that, yes, we do have a birthday coming up in 5 hours, which means I'm turning another year older. But hopefully the Red Wings will decide to, play a great year for me.
That's there we go. I like that birthday wish. Plus, hey, James Neal, she's available. Alrighty. Michael, and in case anyone doesn't know, Michael is new to the team. We just brought him on a couple weeks ago. Michael, how are you doing out there in Toledo?
I am doing fantastic. How about you, good sir?
I am good. Welcome to the team. We're glad to have you on board. If you haven't known, Michael is covering the Toledo Walleye, and his articles are spot on, ladies and gentlemen. Spot on. And, of course, with me is my little bro, all the way out in Boston. This is Tyler. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, actually. Long day at work, but, I'm here, and I'm glad we made it through the summer, and it's hockey season, so.
Yeah, I
already got to see the Wings once, so it's good.
I know, but that doesn't give you permission yet to go see him again, though. We still haven't voted as a group yet. Last year you brought us terrible luck, so one game.
I did. No, I definitely did.
One game does not change that, but you're on the right track. And just so you know, I hope the Red Sox lose. Okay, moving on. Moving on. Alrighty. We've got a lot of things to cover tonight. We're going to touch on a little bit on the Red Wings preseason. Then we're going to get into the big USA hockey debacle at the World Cup and moving forward from that pitiful performance. But before we get into that, couple news headliners. First off, Barrett Jackman, right, that's his name? Yeah, Barrett Jackman.
Yes, Barrett Jackman.
Announcing his retirement. He's actually going to do it with the St. Louis Blues. Classy move of the organization to bring him back and let him do his announcement there. Also, Dan Boyle. Yes, Red Wing killer, Dan Boyle. Thank God he's finally retiring. And the San Jose Sharks are going to let him do it as a Shark, so that's pretty cool. Props to both of them. I mean, Barrett Jackman was a tough son of a gun, running me a Darian Hatcher back in the day. Dan Boyle, man, I'm glad he's gone. I mean, I was just glad when he left the Sharks because that guy was a dagger to the Wings way back when in the day. I don't know if you guys have anything to say on those two, but total props and respect to both of them. As you know, Dan Boyle won a Stanley Cup with Tampa Bay way back when, when John Tortorella was a good coach and the Holly Boulin Wall was like, the Boulin Wall. But, besides that, that's about it. But anyway, guys, anything you want to say about those two respectful gentlemen on the defensive side?
Kudos to a good career. I mean, when you can make a living for your family like those guys did, and they had fun doing it, and in Boyle's case, he won a Stanley Cup. I mean, that doesn't get much better than that. I mean, unless you're a legend, but still serviceable. Two serviceable defensemen, and Dan Boyle, very, very, very good defenseman.
I would agree. Definitely, the both of them great players, great careers. I know Chicago Blackhawk fans for sure are happy about that announcement, though, with Barrett Jackman retiring. That's for sure.
Yes, Kayla, I would have to agree with you on that. I know Barrett Jackman scored some untimely goals against them, which we were all happy about.
I'd say just congrats on a good career for both of them. I did enjoy watching Boyle as long as he wasn't playing us. When he was playing us, I knew we were going to have a hard night, but he was a hard worker, great player. So it'll be kind of weird to see him not on that squad anymore.
I'll say happy trails to them, and hopefully don't spend all their money in one place.
John, the ever wise sage. I appreciate that. And moving forward, we do have some shout-outs to get to. The Winged Octopus family has grown even more. I'd like to give a shout-out to a couple of our new people that have joined us. Of course, we have Michael, who is here with us. We also have Brandy. Her Twitter handle is @theInkThePage. We have Valerie @ValerieKojak. We have Travis @TravSwag. We've got Kara @sweet_Caroline, Kara, or all in caps. And to round it up, we have Xander @NyquistSnipe. They have all joined our magnificent family. And if you haven't noticed, they have been posting up articles. And so far, great job, guys. Round of applause to you all.
Too.
Oh, my bad. And Lauren. I don't know. Can someone grab her Twitter handle? I don't have it in front of me.
I'll let you pull it up real quick. Also,
all right, but sorry, Lauren, about that. Appreciate that.
@Red Wings Lauren, LAUREN.
All right, perfect. Sorry, Lauren. Apologize. I didn't see your name in the Twitter DM group message, so I didn't pay attention. It's been a long day, right? So we're gonna get into this here. Without further ado, we're gonna cover the Red Wings up really quick and their preseason rolls on. I know they play tomorrow in the dreaded hometown of Max of Chicago. Boo Chicken Hawks. As you know, the Wings are 3-0-1 in the preseason. They actually have looked pretty good, shockingly. Like, not many changes, on the defensive side, but of course, this is going to hurt me, Kayla, and Tyler the most. I mean, I know the other two, but the three of us have a huge bond. Yep, Tyler, don't show his number right now. I'm trying not to get emotional. But Pavel Datsyuk is not with us anymore. He has moved on to greener pastures or whiter pastures. I don't know what they grow over in Russia, but anyway. So, as you know, we had to reassemble a little bit the forward corps. But as of right now, guys, what are your thoughts? Oh, really quick. Matthew has joined us from the west coast of the Kingdom of California.
What's going on, you guys? What's going on?
Hey.
Yo.
What's going on?
What's up, buddy?
It is the fearless leader of the Winged Octopus, Matthew.
Oh man, just tired. Just got back, so I mean, figured I couldn't miss this. I couldn't miss this show for the world, so wanted to jump on.
So he ran back as fast as he could from coaching. Just to
Go. He booked it. He Forrest Gumped it, guys.
Yep.
Forrest Gumped it.
Run, Matt.
Run, Matthew, run.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened.
Dude, I believe it all day. But so Matt, we just shout out the new people on the squad. On the squad. So any further ado, we're talking about Red Wings preseason really quick. We're gonna go through everybody really quick. We're gonna do one positive, one negative so far of what you've seen or read, and then I have one big question to propose to the group, and then we'll move on to our next topic. So, John, I'm going to start with you. What is the one positive and one negative you have found with the Red Wings so far? 4 games into the wait. How many?
You're right, 4.
Yeah, 4.
You're right, 4.
4 games into the preseason with 4 left, I assume. What are your thoughts, John? One positive, one negative.
It's not really a surprise to me how good Joe Hicketts has been, but lots of people around the hockey world have gotten to see the Joe Hicketts I've known and grown to love as a hockey player produce in the preseason here for the Red Wings, and he's not as far away from the NHL as quite a few people have thought. So he's going to be a player to watch out for with Grand Rapids. My negative is that Nicholas Kronwall isn't on the ice skating with the team yet. He's supposed to this week, but who knows? He might end up on LTIR if he can't get his knees under control.
Yeah, there is a lot of mileage on those knees. I mean, back in the day, he was, the wrecking ball that we needed, but now he's that veteran leadership they desperately need on that back end because we all know Big Error is not going to do anything useful for us. So, but moving on, John, excellent points. Thank you very much for bringing those up. Kayla, the birthday girl soon to be. What are your positives and negatives?
Well, I would have to say my positive is Luke Glendenning's performance so far. I mean, everyone wants to just call him, like he's just a third liner. He can't really, score that many goals, but he's like turning it up lately. So, I mean, you got to give the guy props. Everyone knows I'm a huge Glendenning fan, and it probably won't change. So, but I mean, he's at least proving others wrong. He's proving his haters wrong, and he's earning his roster spot. He's not just, just skating around out there. He's proving that he deserves to be on this team. I would say my negative would definitely be Jonathan Eriksson still being on the team. I mean,
I think we all agree with that.
Yeah, it's that simple. There's nothing else to be said. Eriksson's still on the team. I mean, he's openly came out and said that he needs to get surgery, and when he gets surgery, he's going to retire first and then get surgery or something like that. And it just makes no sense to me because he's a reliability. So,
yep,
Absolutely.
No, I agree with that. He's a huge liability. And in case, James Neal, you are listening, you do have competition with Luke Glendenning for the heart of Kayla.
That's
But
right.
anyway, moving on. Michael, your positives and negatives of preseason so far.
I'd say my biggest positive is Steve Ott. He's brought an energy and just a sense of fun to that team and to that locker room that it's really refreshing because especially under Babcock, it was always really, really serious. They didn't have a lot of fun. Under Blashill, they're having more fun, and Ott came, and that whole team, even on the bench during the preseason game yesterday, they were having fun, and he's having fun, so it's really nice to see. My negative is just the defensive core as a whole. Kayla mentioned we still have Big E, and he's basically a traffic cone. And Cronwall's great, but his knee is still bugging him. So we potentially have two of our core men who are hurt, so that falls a lot onto Smith and Green and the Kaiser to kind of fill that void, and maybe Marchenko as well. We didn't get anybody, so I'm not feeling too confident about it right now, but we'll see. Hopefully I'm wrong.
I think we all hope you are wrong, but no, it is a huge question mark going into the season compared to if you compare the D core of the Red Wings to the D core of their rivals in the division. Tyler, your thoughts on preseason so far?
So far, 3-0-1 or whatever it is. So, the win-loss record's good. They have played a bunch of, some of the teams aren't playing a lot of their players, but, whatever. The Wings aren't playing a lot of their players either. But I guess my biggest positive right now is the defense, actually. The young defense, whether it be Hicketts or it be Sproul or it be Willette or it be Jensen, all those guys have looked really good. And if I missed one, Robbie Russo even looked really good when I was at the game the other night. And it really does show you that there is a positive to the end of this, Eriksson thing. If he does end up retiring or whatever, there are guys that can come up and fill that void. If Brendan Smith leaves in free agency, there are guys that can fill that void. So, that's a positive. And then I think the biggest negative right now is at the time I liked Ott and I liked Drew Miller and I liked Helm, but the more I think about it right now, if you watch these preseason games, you see Martin Ferk, you see Anthony Mantha, you see Andreas Anthony, you see all those guys that are young forwards. You even see Mitch Callahan and you see Tyler Bertuzzi, and some of those guys are already knocking on the door. So why did you have to go out and why did you have to go and re-sign Drew Miller and re-sign Darren Helm and just basically plug up holes that, would have been kids' holes, and now you have slow old men in those holes. I'm not talking about Helm. I'm talking more so about Drew Miller. And I like Drew Miller. It's just him or Ott. You don't need both. That's basically what I would say. And another real big positive is Larkin. Larkin looks great out there. He looks in midseason form.
Well, I hope so. He's only, 21 now?
I'm telling you, though, I seen him in Boston, and he was the best player on the ice by far.
Tyler, that still doesn't give you permission yet to go at all. We haven't decided that yet.
I know.
I've not decided that yet. And Matthew, out there in that far, far west region of California, your pros and cons of preseason.
My pros have to be the line of Larkin, Athanasiu, and Mantha. I mean, they've been thrown out there and they've looked really good, actually. I mean, this is a line of the future that we could be that we're looking at right here. This could be a future top line, you know what I mean? But they've really looked good. I've been really impressed by that line. I'm glad that Blashill is playing them more. Another, if I can use one more positive too, another positive is how the way the power play looked, actually. I mean, I haven't gotten the chance to look at too many of the games, but how the way it's looking like one of the defenders, or in this case, Mike Green, is going to pinch a little and take more shots from the blue line or pinch and get more shots off. That's a huge positive for me because if anyone who knows me, I've stressed from since the beginning we've done the podcast and the YouTube show to let Mike Green get more shots from the blue line. Look like they're gonna let him get more shots from the blue line. So hopefully that means more success on the power play. Hopefully. A con, one negative that I have has to be it has to be the whole forward situation, honestly. Like what Tyler said, you know, you got guys like Helm, Miller, Ott, against the Helm, Miller, or Ott, but you got, from what we've seen in the preseason, we have some talented young forwards who you could be breaking in, you know, at that time, who you should be breaking in and who should be playing, you know, game experience, you know what I mean? These are guys who I think should be in there to get some type of experience. I mean, I'm with Tyler on this. Yeah, you can keep Miller or you know, that's fine. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with keeping a gritty guy or whatnot on the fourth line. But you know, you want to get some offensive production, some type of offensive production from all your lines. I know the Glendening
Miller.
and Miller line's been scoring a little bit, but I mean, you want to get some of these young guys who are waiver exempt. You know what I mean? Like Ferk, you want to get those guys in there so you don't lose them to someone else. So that's just my whole thing, honestly.
No, that's an excellent point because if anyone hasn't noticed or figured it out yet, there's probably about a 95% chance Mantha and Double A will probably be starting in Grand Rapids instead of where they belong in the Wings roster. So I'm going to pose this last question to you guys, and then we're going to move on to the bigger topic of the night. Who do you see as the forward competition and defensive spot for the last defensive roster spot? Who does it go to? So my last question is, who gets those roster spots? We know Yurko's out back. We know Franzen has become social media president, so he's not even there unless running drills. We know Joe Vitale. I don't even know if he even reported to Michigan yet.
No, he's on long-term IR. I think
He's on long-term IR.
I know, guys. I was being funny. I know that he's on long-term. You have to go with my humor. I know it's been a while. God.
Nope.
But Michael, you're about to be muted. But so who do you see as the last waiver spot? Because Matt brought up a huge point. Martin Frick has to clear waivers to get back to Grand Rapids, or the Wings risk losing him, which I'm pretty sure some team out there will take a chance on a young guy compared to an old guy. So I'll go. Whoever wants to start can go ahead, and then just go down the line of you lovely, lovely hosting people. But who do you see grabbing the last spots? Because you got Pukinen, you've got Martin Frick. Yurko's out right now. My brain is just drawing a quote.
Callahan's another one that's
thank you,
not
Callahan.
eligible anymore. I guess
Callahan.
I'll start things off.
Okay, John, go right ahead.
It depends on what Kenny and Blashill are willing to lose. Are they willing to lose a defenseman that could end up being a solid top career third pair guy in Ouellette or Sproul, or are they willing to lose a fringe NHLer in Polkinen, who's in danger of losing his spot to Martin Ferk, who's had a good showing so far? Do they want to run with 14 forwards and 7 defensemen, or 8 defensemen and 13 forwards to keep Ouellette and Sproul? If it came down to 7 defensemen, I think Ouellette would win out based on his all-around game, although I'd prefer Sproul.
All right, John started us off. We're going to go down the line now. Kayla, you're next.
I guess I would say, like out of the forwards, I don't know, probably, Anthony Ciu isn't given an automatic spot in the official lineup, right?
As of right now, I don't see it, no.
Okay, so I would just definitely go with him just because, this kid is still, just amazing. He's been amazing ever since he was brought up last December, and he hasn't lost any of his magic touch that he has. So, I definitely would say he deserves to be, up with the Detroit Red Wings. As for defensemen, I guess I would just say Sproul. He's really good. What more can you say?
Yep, nope. I agree with that. And they're going to need Magic from AA now without number 13 with his Magic. So they got to replace Magic with Magic. Michael, your answer to the lovely question.
In terms of forward, my brain says AA, but my heart is going with Ferk. The reason why I'm going with Ferk is because I watched him in Toledo. I watched his development from the beginning of the season, and this was back in the 14-15 season, to the end where he was up in Grand Rapids, and the kid is amazing. He's fast, he's smart with the puck, and his shot is on point. So I think he has a serious shot of breaking through here really quick. But for defensemen, I'm going with John, and I'm going to say Xavier Ouellette, because he looked real solid last night. He's looked solid in all the shots he's gotten. I think he's close to breaking through.
All right. Excellent points. Tyler?
See, here's what I would say. For forward, I would go with Martin Ferk because AA needs to work on the way he plays in his own zone. That's just my opinion. And Ferk really stood out when I was in Boston. His shot is just it's sick. On defense, it's really up to you. Do you think if you put XO in waivers, he's going to get claimed? You put Jensen or Sproul on waivers, they may not get claimed, but I still think I would go with Sproul. He's the bigger guy. He's got a bomb of a shot. That's another guy that stood out. I think Sproul. I do.
Matthew?
This one's gonna be. It's tough for me because Mantha helped out with the power play, and he actually can help with the power play. AA brings speed, and as Max said, magic. And actually, Ferk with his shot too is something you might want to have. I'm gonna have to go with Ferk on this one too because Ferk is waiver. He's not waiver exempt. So he has to clear waivers, and I think that's something the Red Wings need to think about, and that's something they need to they need to have him up there, because you can go ahead, you can lose Polkinen, you go for it, you can put Polkinen on waivers if you have to and lose him. He hasn't really done much. You can with Yurko, whenever Yurko comes back, it's going to be tough because do you put him in? Or do you scratch him? That's going to be tough.
See, that's why I still think you need to make a trade for Jacob Trouba. You have enough depth.
With Ferk, at least it's something you don't have to really worry about, because if you have him there already on the main team, and he's in the lineup. Then you're fine. You have somebody with a pretty good, decent or a pretty good shot. Not only that, Mantha and Anthony C, you can afford to send them down and not worry about losing them, because later on in the season, eventually they're going to have to come up. If you know the Red Wings history and injuries, you know they're an injury away from coming right back up.
Very true. Good
Yeah.
point.
So
It's an injury away from that drive down 96.
so with that being said, you don't have to worry about them going down because sooner or later the Memorial Red Wing pull a groin season's gonna come, and probably 2 Red Wings are gonna mysteriously have a lower body injury, which means a tender groin, and they're gonna come right back up. So with Ferk, yeah.
No, I agree. Matt, really quick, your defensive choice.
Defensive choice is gonna be hard. I would say Hickett's how the way he's been looking, but they're not. But I don't think Hickett's is a year away. So with that being said, it's probably gonna be XO. It's probably gonna be XO because Sprawl is well liked because of his body and everything, but XO has experience. But my issue with XO is he's very inconsistent. That's my issue, but I think XO ends up in there, unfortunately. I don't know how the way it could go, because if Cronwall isn't ready, then XO and Sprawl could be up.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That is
XO
a good
and
point.
Sprawl could be up if Cronwall isn't ready. And especially we don't know what's going on with Cronwall's knee and stuff. He still hasn't practiced yet. So
Yeah, no, tomorrow is the big factor because I think Zetterberg and Cronwall are supposed to at least try to skate with the team, like full blow at practice. So tomorrow will be a huge determination.
Can I bring up one thing though, actually, too? This is a big week for Mantha, Anthony, and Ferk.
Yes, I would agree with that.
This is a huge week because if they don't really stand out and make this a hard decision or anything, then that makes it easy for them to send them back down. But one of them has to come up. One has to come up.
No, I agree with that all the way. I think we all agree on that. Like, they need to, put on the Dylan Larkin show of last year in preseason to make this team, or at least make, the decision hard enough to really make management think about what their future is going to look like, because Ott's gone after a year. Vanek is gone after the year. That's 2 open roster spots. You're going to have at least another one because of the draft, which all hoping. We all know Erickson, pray to God, but whatever. But moving on, thank you, everybody, for that was interesting insight into the Red Wings. Really quick, my positive, Jimmy Howard looks good. No negatives as of right now. I haven't really watched too much work. And
Trade him.
Don't start now. Don't you dare start.
Fired.
Don't you start, Matthew. Don't you start. But anyway, I want Frick up just because I actually saw him play when I was back home up in Illinois and in Rockford. The kid, like everyone has said so far, his shot is nasty. It's actually on net, uncomparable. The Pulkinins where we don't know where it's going to end up. It could end up in Ford Field. The Lions wouldn't know what to do with it to begin with anyway. But anyway,
Sad.
Defenseman, I take Sproul. I mean, we know what Sproul's shot does. Look at Mitch Callahan's face a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Besides that, that's all I really got. So we're going to move on to the bigger topic of the discussion, the really big point of this YouTube show. We're going to talk about Team USA and the demoralizing destruction of Team USA at the World Cup, where we all, I think, joined myself in drinking mini beers.
Bruh.
Yep,
Yeah.
I know Matthew's still feeling it. But anyway, we're going to talk about Team USA and where they stand of right now and where they go from here and how they build up the product of Team USA. So I'm going to hand it over to Tyler, who has the main talking points, and then we'll have our discussion from there. So, Tyler, the ball is in your court.
All right, so basically the main idea of this is basically how could the tournament have been better for Team USA? I'm going to start off with Kayla on this because me and her kind of came up with this idea like when we were all talking the other night. So, Kayla, you go ahead.
Basically, I mean, as a huge Team USA hockey fan and supporter, it was just heartbreaking watching this team go out there and just not even just play the way they did. Like they didn't show any passion, any heart, anything. But the big thing is management needs to change. Management and the coaching needs to just change. I mean, the past 6 years have been absolutely pathetic when it comes to Team USA hockey and, in the Olympics or in the World Cup in this case. In Sochi, I mean, they got bounced early. I mean, that was pathetic. And, I mean, it was basically almost the same group of guys this year, maybe a couple different, situations. And, I mean, they snubbed certain players, they
oh God, sorry.
Bill Kessel. I mean, in one thing is that concerns me though is I do wonder what players were hurt and that couldn't compete, or if they just said they were hurt. I know on Team Sweden, like Zetterberg, and Zetterberg said he was hurt, but I mean I don't know if he actually was. I think he just found it a rest. But so I wonder if guys like Tyler Johnson, for example, he's another great American. Everyone brings up Phil Kessel, and yeah, of course, Phil Kessel
wanted to go.
Yeah, he wanted to go. He did have a hand injury or something like that, but when the roster was announced, his hand was all right. He didn't need surgery or anything.
Right.
So he was snubbed to begin with. And also, Tyler Johnson, same thing. I think he's a very underrated player. I mean, if you look back to last year when the Lightning played the Red Wings, Tyler Johnson was just slaying it. He was killing it out there. He's a very, very, very underrated player for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And Bobby Ryan, another great example of a player that got snubbed. I mean, one thing I will say is even though Quick, I think, could have performed better, you can't really you can only do so much as a goalie. So, I mean, I think we do have a good future, in goaltending. I mean, our goaltending was okay. It was Quick, Bishop, Snyder. You can't really pick. There's no one really else that could have replaced those guys, in my opinion. But
Tim Thomas.
Wherever he's at. Hiding in the bunkers somewhere. Yeah, but basically, I mean, what they could have done better is, I mean, it's not so much what they could have done better. What they should have done is, the management, Dean Lombardi, and I forgot at the moment who the rest of the staff was, and John Tortorella, they definitely shouldn't have been in charge of this team at all. I mean, it was horrendous. And they constructed a team that only was meant to play against Team Canada. And that's it. They forgot that there was Team Europe, Team Sweden, all these other teams that they have to play still. And Team Russia is another good example. And so they just couldn't get the job done again. And it's just a letdown. And, I'm sick and tired of, not being able to say that, USA won gold or USA, came first, I mean, it's just, it's really, really honestly just sad. It's sad. It's pathetic. I mean, it angers me just because I just so badly want to experience my own personal 1980, 1980 Miracle on Ice. And it's just not looking good anytime soon.
John, you're next.
Yeah, I agree.
Very good kill, by the way.
New manager in there and a new coach in there, and I'm nominating right now David Poyle of the Nashville Predators for general manager. Look what he's done, building his budget defense, all-star defensive core right there in Nashville, stealing Ryan Johansson from Columbus. He's a solid general manager, and he's really building a nice team in Nashville. For head coach, I'd say John Hines. I think the style of game that he coaches could slow down a lot of teams internationally, and that would give the U.S. a good chance to succeed.
Nicely said, John. Max, you're up next.
Okay, what exactly or the question.
So basically, it's kind of what they were saying. It's how could the tournament have been better for the United States? Like, just give some examples and what you would have changed basically.
Not be in the same pool as Canada. Be in Pool C, called "We Americans, We Bad." But anyway, honestly though, I mean, I don't understand how they said they were so focused on Team Canada and then get outplayed and outclassed by Team Europe in that game. So, I mean, I don't know who dropped the ball or if they were drinking Max's secret juice, which we all know is booze. So I'm not really sure what was going on. But really quick, I know John brought it up, but didn't Dave Pulley build the Sochi Olympic team, or am I thinking of somebody else?
I think he did. I think
Dean. I think it was. Wait, who built the team?
Like, who was the GM?
No, the Sochi team.
Oh,
the Sochi team. Wasn't it
Dean
Dave
Lombardi?
Pulley?
I think it was Dean Lombardi.
He was that too?
Yeah, I think it was Lombardi.
All right. Well, maybe if it was Dean Lombardi fired, if it was Dave Pulley, they need to go back to him because that Team USA at Sochi was actually built pretty good.
And they just didn't get it done.
They just didn't get it done. Agreed.
It was David Poyle who built it.
It
was so. I thought
it was?
so.
Okay.
I thought it was too. I just wasn't sure.
I thought it was
That's why I
Lombardi
questioned
that
it.
put it together, but maybe
Lombardi
I
just
looked wrong.
Lombardi just needs to stay with Matt's favorite team out west. Anyway, coach, I would actually go Mike Sullivan as head coach, Dan Biasma as assistant, and Peter Laviette as the other assistant. All three of those coaches are fantastic coaches. Look what Mike Sullivan did coming in late mid-season and 2 NHL lines, or maybe 3, and then a bunch of kids, and look what happens. And a rookie goaltender, and he gets it done. Dan Biasma, I truly feel like he got shafted in Pittsburgh after, he wins a cup. And then, he couldn't, just too many injuries, consistently, and then they just could never get over the hump. I don't all think that was on him. He's going to turn Buffalo around. Look out. Buffalo's actually breathing down our necks right now in the division, I honestly believe. And then Peter Laviette, look what he's done with Nashville. I mean, I know that's all Dave Pulley building that team, but look how good Nashville was last year, coaching-wise, direction-wise. I mean, they were the class in the Central, I believe, behind St. Louis, or neck and neck with St. Louis, honestly. They made Chicago look kind of, like weak finally. Build it, and then, just Team USA. Thank God Larkin will be eligible if they do this World Cup for actually Team USA. Same with Eichel and all that, because Team North America was actually probably could have kicked Team USA's ass up and down.
Yep.
Sorry, I cussed. Oh, my God, I broke the rule, but they could have probably swept Team USA. They could have swept Team USA with brooms because that's how good Team North America was. And just how bad Team USA, they just truly were a disaster.
So I agree with everything you said, Max. So I guess Michael go and then Matthew go.
I'd say my biggest takeaway from the World Cup of Hockey is just watching Team USA play some of the most uninspired, untrustful. That's the biggest one. Untrustful hockey. Those teammates did not trust each other. Case in point, that Patrick Kane turnover at the blue line that led to that 2-on-0. I think it were 2-on-1 or 2-on-0 against.
No, it was 2-on-0.
Was it a 2-on-0? Yeah, that 2-on-0.
Quick was out to dry.
Yeah, he tried to do way too much because he just wouldn't pass it to his man across the blue line that was wide open. And that was them the whole tournament. There was no gelling. There was no mesh. There was just no – and after the first game, there was just no heart. There was no heart whatsoever. And it's sad because there's a lot of good players. There's Stanley Cup players on that team. And they just couldn't get it done. Everybody's already kind of said who they thought will fill the void, who's a good, better coach. We all know it's not Torts. It's just not Torts.
Absolutely not.
Torts' specialty is getting a team and turning it around to where they're serviceable. He's not
AKA Columbus.
Yeah, and I like the Blue Jackets, and I think they're going to be a threat next year, by the way. I think they're going to be good. But, yeah, I just don't think that he is suitable for this kind of a stage. And that's not entirely on him, the team. I know he helped build the team, but I feel like there are some other things going on.
I mean, the guy won a Stanley Cup with Tampa Bay in 2004.
Yeah, he
That's a
has a
long
cup.
time ago. That is a long time ago. Hockey has changed a lot since 2004. And if he continues to just keep playing a style like that, he's never going to evolve. So I agree with everything you said, and definitely agree that Torch should not be the coach of the next team, USA, whatever it may be, whether it be the World Cup or if they end up going to the Pyeongchang Olympic Games in South Korea. So, Matthew, you go, and then I'll give my opinion.
Oh my God, where can I start? I'm not huge on international hockey, so just so everybody knows, but I truly think, other than on the ice, I truly think the issue lies up top. And as a matter of fact, I think I told Kayla the same thing too. The issue lies with up top, because if you're trying to construct an international team, you are putting the best players in the country out there.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Abdelkader, no offense to anybody who loves Justin Abdelkader, is not one of the best players in the country. Although what he does, if he was to play on Team USA, he would be no higher than a third line guy. If anything, a fourth line guy, if you want to use him. Some of these guys were not supposed to be on the team. You constructed a team full of gritty guys and stuff, but you left out guys like Tyler Johnson, Phil Kessel. Who else am I missing?
Bobby Ryan,
Bobby
Kevin
Ryan,
Shattenkirk.
Shattenkirk.
Justin Hill.
I mean, you're leaving out you're leaving out top players, top American players for what? To build a team of heart and grit and everything?
David Backus.
I mean, come on now.
Yes.
So this is the issue. I mean, Dean Lombardi, for real, for people who are shocked by the way Dean Lombardi constructed this team, look at the LA Kings. Look at how the LA Kings are constructed. The only issue is you don't have a guy like
Kopitar.
No. They got a guy better than Kopitar.
Dowdy?
No, coaching wise, you don't have a Daryl. You don't have a Daryl Sutter.
Daryl Sutter.
You don't have a Daryl Sutter to coach this team, but
John Tortorella.
you have John Tortorella. Let me sit up and tell you this. You have John Tortorella coaching a national team.
Thank you, Matt.
There are other coaches that are 10 times as better than John Tortorella
absolutely.
that could coach this team. So seriously, you need to, if I'm Team USA, I need to revamp this, get me the best American GM, give me the best American coach, give me the best American staff, and put together the best American players. The best players out there. Because I'll tell you this, and then I'll end it here. Team USA basketball, their only issue is who are they going to put on the team, because there are that many talented American players. I know it's different and everything, but I'm just saying. Baseball, sometimes the best American players just don't want to play, but you can legitimately put the best American players out there and have issues on picking that. You don't have that issue with hockey, although in this case the best American players were on Team North America.
Yeah.
That was the issue. But think about it. You see what you have with that Team North America, with the best young American players. If the Olympics come, you can put those guys on there and you'll be okay. And you can mix them with Patrick Kane and Shattenkirk and Bobby Ryan, the likes of those guys. You can compete with Canada with those guys, believe it or not. And I don't care what Canadians say. You can compete with Canada with those type of guys. If Canada just boat races you, it's just the talent that Canada has. You can't do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's time to get us the best people who can run this, who can run Team North America and start getting this thing going and start winning.
Agreed. It's
I
common
would
sense.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna add, it's common sense. I mean, every other country put their best players out there. Every other country except for us.
Even bowling puts their best players out there, and I don't even know if bowling has a national team.
Exactly.
Which is, I'm sorry, it's ass backwards. It really is ass backwards the way they did this team. They forgot about all the other teams. Oh no, we just got to beat Canada. So let's not worry about Team Europe. Let's not worry about Team Czech Republic. Let's not worry about the Russians. Let's not worry about the Swedes. It's just ass backwards. I guess basically the best way I would say is basically everyone said this is to put the best players on the ice, that are American. I mean, Patrick Kane, obviously, but then Bobby Ryan and Kevin Shattenkirk and those guys. I mean, I guess if it was more of an Olympic, you could have Jack Eichel and you could have Dylan Larkin and you could have those kind of players, Brandon Saad, and so I guess that's the best way to do it, but also the whole management thing's a joke, and also their game plan was absolutely brutal too, because they played a rough, tough, physical hockey game. They didn't play that. They were built to play that way, and they didn't play that way. What's the stereotype of USA hockey in the World Juniors? They're fast and they outskate everyone. That's the stereotype for USA hockey in the World Juniors. They're fast and they outskate everyone. Why don't they do that when they become men? Why don't they do that when they become men? And the simple answer is because you don't have the damn coaching. That's why. And so that's literally where you're at right now with USA hockey and them on the big stage. Now, if you want to talk World Juniors, you want to talk U18s, United States is right there with a lot of the other countries. Mm-hmm. But when they're on the big stage, for whatever reason, they just gag, and there's no other way to put it.
You know what it is, and you just mentioned it earlier. It's coaching. The coaching philosophy is not to where it suits their style. It suits whoever is coaching that team or whatever philosophy. I've always said this, and everyone heard me preach this with the Red Wings. You need to utilize what your strengths are. You need to utilize your strengths. I felt like Team USA, with Team USA, they don't utilize their strength. The coaching doesn't utilize their strength. It's just to fit whatever style they're trying to coach, instead of saying, what works with this? What works with that? Mike Babcock, as a matter of fact, as many people can think differently, Mike Babcock is known to get the most out of players.
Yep.
That's all
he switches the styles to get the most out of the players.
Exactly. We don't have I'm sorry, but whoever is in charge of Team USA does not do that. They don't do that. They don't think what's good at hand or anything. And that's why I always say you have these other sports with their national teams. They put the best players out there, and they get this. And the coach who comes in, all you got to do is figure out how to blend the style. Team USA hockey don't do that. It's not the fact that they don't. And it's not the fact that you don't put the best players out there, but you don't utilize their strength. This time you tried to, you just put the wrong freaking people out there who sucked.
Basically, what you tried to do is you tried to put a bunch of guys together to play the style of the 2011 Bruins. That's literally what you did, and it failed miserably because the team that you built like that. What are you going to do that for in an all-star tournament, basically? That makes no sense at all.
I'd like to add something really quick, but
Go
Michael,
ahead, and then we got to move on.
Michael, did you want to add something?
Oh, jeez.
I had one little thing real quick. Is Ken Hitchcock American?
I believe he is, actually.
I think
No. He's Canadian.
No?
He's
Canadian?
He was on Babcock's staff when they won the gold twice.
Okay, 'cause I didn't know if he was American or not, because in the back of my head, I'm like, if he's American, why isn't he involved? Then,
No.
Edmonton
That's why he's not involved.
okay, that makes sense. One other thing, I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate here, going off of what Matt said. Now, you're comparing our national team to, say, the basketball team. Well, I would argue that the NBA in basketball is much larger following-wise than hockey. And thus, you have a larger player pool. And, like, American hockey players in the NHL, there is obviously not as many as there are American NBA players for an Olympic team. So it will be harder to get those players for a tournament like this, is it not?
It would be, honestly. You're absolutely correct on that, because the NBA does have a larger pool of players, but not only that, it's, how can I put it? You have a larger amount of American players playing in the NBA opposed to the NHL, where you have a larger amount of Canadian and other and European players. So no, you are correct on that. It is an issue because you don't have a player pool to really select from to say, I want that guy, but that guy's good. So it's the degree of difficulty as far as selecting your best players is really difficult.
Yeah.
But if this pool is so small, as far as really good, really good American players, that they should automatically be on that team. You know what I mean? It should make it for obvious pickings. It is basically what I'm saying. Basically the NHL, or not the NHL, but USA don't have that luxury that basketball has for this country. You know what I mean? Although you can argue the sport of basketball has grown internationally compared to it has grown internationally compared to hockey, where hockey was basically already an international game and whatnot.
Yeah.
I would say to an extent, Team USA hockey has the same issue as Team USA soccer.
Yeah,
Almost.
that's a good way. Yeah, I see where you're going with that.
Team USA soccer, although Team USA soccer has made drastic improvements to its team and have legitly tried to put out the best players out there, although there's not that many great USA soccer players out there, Team USA kind of has the same issue with soccer, but the only thing is soccer eventually tried to figure it out. Soccer eventually figured it out and put in a coach who basically was like, look, I'm going to mesh these styles to where they fit. Now there's people who don't really want him there, but at least they got with the program. Team USA hockey has not got with the program yet.
But they have the skill, more skill than the soccer team did, though.
They do. They honestly do. And that's why I'm saying it's part of it is because of you had the Team North America thing, so that kind of hurt Team USA as far as putting best players out there. But you still have players who should have been out there, like Bobby Ryan, Tyler Johnson, Shattenkirk, who should be on that team as an automatic. That's my whole thing, you know. So
Yeah,
I think so. I get what you're saying, Michael, and it's an unfair comparison to compare basketball with hockey. So maybe I should have used soccer because soccer actually had the same issue as hockey, and soccer is an example of how Team USA hockey can improve.
If I can can I add?
Go ahead. Yep.
Before we wrap this, before we go on to the next theme or the next subject.
Yep, go ahead.
As everyone knows, Phil Kessel tweeted, just sitting around the house tonight with my dog, felt like I should be doing something important, but couldn't put my finger on it. So that was like pretty much the highlight of Team USA's performance, considering Kessel wasn't even there. He got snubbed, and that tweet was sent out when they lost. And I just wanted to say that that tweet might have won Twitter, but it didn't win over any of the coaches or the management or the players that were on Team USA in the tournament. And one of the issues I had also really quick was, just to wrap this up, was I was more mad. It was kind of like pathetic to see these men like Backus and I forgot who else said something.
Ryan Kessler.
Kessler. Yeah. Ryan Kessler. They're, coming out and, things about how Kessel shouldn't have tweeted that, like, and Backus even put like a threat on him, like, oh, just wait till the regular season starts. And I'm in Tortorella.
Backus shouldn't have been on the team to begin with. What is he talking for?
Yeah, and Tortorella, exactly. And Tortorella came out and blasted Kessel too. And the whole time I'm thinking they're more mad at Kessel's tweet than they are at their performance.
The fact that they
lost, yeah.
That sums it up for me right there. I mean, that really was just like despicable to me.
I agree with all that. We got to move on here to the next question.
Can I bring up one more thing too
go
before
ahead,
we move on?
quick.
Because it was a tweet. It was a tweet from Chris actually, from Red Wings Mean.
Go ahead. Yep.
He said USA Hockey will be light years ahead or light years behind Canada. Team USA Hockey will be light years behind Canada, and that'll never change. And I agree, it will be light years behind, but you can always find ways to improve. You can always find ways to improve yourself, not focusing on because you're not going to touch the torch to Canada and hockey. That's just not going to happen. But you can always put your best players out there to at least improve as a team and eventually beat Canada. You're not going to touch them, but it could start something to where you start beating these teams, and start winning these top tournaments and stuff. That's my whole thing. You can't compare Canadian hockey to USA hockey. It's always
not yet,
different.
anyway.
It's always different. You can't compare it. But there's always ways to improve it. Just because you're light years behind, that shouldn't be an excuse to not improve the product. That's just what I'm saying.
So the last thing I would say there, though, is it doesn't matter if you're light years behind. If you put your best product on the ice, these tournaments are small, and they're very – most of them, you lose one game, you're in deep trouble. And you lose two games, you're done. So if you win two games and then you end up facing Canada in the round, you beat Canada, they're done. They are not moving on. You beat Canada, they're done, and now you've slayed your demon, and now you have to either play Sweden or Finland or whatever.
And that's a different monster to tackle.
That's a different monster, and it's big. It's not as big, but it's still very big, and it's tough. So, but like I said, we got to move on to the next thing here. It's basically a question here, and it doesn't have to be very long. It's kind of going to be a good discussion here. So basically, we've been kicking this around. We've had it on the blog here, and we also had it on the Twitter as well. How do we grow hockey in the United States? Besides in states that is already, it's already grown in, like Minnesota, Michigan, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New York, all those states, it's not getting much bigger than it is there. But how can we grow it in places? I'm not even talking the West Coast. I'm talking like the Midwest, Nebraska and Idaho and those places. How do you grow hockey in those places? And I'm not giving you that specifically. Just how do we grow hockey in the United States?
First, people actually have to live in the Midwest for that.
For real. Can I go
you get
first?
What I'm saying. Yeah, go ahead, Matthew. Go.
Can I go first on this?
Yep.
One, you're not going to grow hockey in Nebraska. That's just a given.
That was just an example. I mean, how can you grow hockey in the United States as a whole? That's basically the question.
In the United States as a whole, it has to start, and it always starts with pro. Because pro is always going to generate a lot of interest. So it has to come within the NHL. Now, how does the NHL do it? Which really, it's hard to do, especially when you're in a country with the sport dominated by the NFL, the NBA, Heck, even the MLB is starting to make some strides with their with stuff. It's advertising and accessibility to for these people to watch these games. Everybody do not have NBCSN. The issue with the NHL ever since the lockout that took them off of ESPN
2004.
was that exactly what the 2004 lockout that took them off of ESPN was that nobody knew where to find these games. If it wasn't on NHL, if it wasn't on NBC or NBCSN, if anyone pays attention to that channel, then it's on a channel like maybe Versus or what is it? Or remember the outdoor
Yeah,
network
OLN was.
back
It's
out here,
basically the
OLN.
same thing, though.
It was on those channels, and you could never find those channels. That you never knew where those channels were, unless you had satellite, which everybody don't have freaking satellite, or they don't have the same, you know, cable provider. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um. So one, what you have to do is you have to make these games more accessible. Now, how do you make them more accessible? They've tried the whole, oh, we got NHL, we have NHL TV. One, NHL TV is the most horrible thing since they upgraded from their own stuff. Why? Because nobody can watch freaking games in their home market, and it's too many technical difficulties. So you need to get that fixed. Two, get off of NBC. Please get off of NBC. The reason why I say this is because you're only on two channels. You can't go on NBC. Your issue is you can't go on NBC itself because during football season it's dominated on Sundays, so you have to get NBC in the mornings. If you're gonna do that, do it. Nobody, but your issue is you're only playing games on NBC on the main NBC channels at 10 in the morning on the West. Everyone's just waking up at 10 in the morning on a Sunday out West. That's your issue. So you can't play a game. You can't play a game in Los Angeles at 10 in the morning because nobody's going to show up at 10 in the morning. You have to start doing games at 12 in the middle of these times on a Sunday or even a Wednesday if you have to. After football season, do that. So you're going to have to get off of NBC. Go on ESPN and Fox. The reason why I say that is because look at what MLB is doing. You have Sunday night, with MLB, you have Sunday night baseball, Wednesday night baseball. You know what I mean? You're filling the void with these games. Now, seeing that a lot of games that are supposed to be on ESPN come on ABC, you can do a game on a Sunday night after football season ends. You can do a game on Sunday night on ABC. For Fox, you could do a game after college football season ends. You could do a game on Fox. You could do maybe a game on everybody's local affiliate, on local Fox affiliate,
Or Fox Sports 1 or Fox Sports
or
2.
you could do Fox Sports 1 or Fox Sports 2.
Yep.
You could do that. So you have to bring more exposure to better the advertisements. I mean, advertise these games every single where. You can't do it just on NBC when everybody's watching an NHL game. That's not going to fly. You have to do it on like a casual network or something. That's why I say get on NBC, or not NBC, get on ESPN or Fox, because when you watch a TV show on Fox, that commercial for hockey is going to show. You watch a show on ABC, you could be watching Desperate Housewives on ABC. I know that show hasn't come on in years, but you could be watching Desperate Housewives on ABC and see a commercial for NHL hockey. You have to start advertising. You have to do better advertising. And until the NHL does that, you're never gonna grow the sport. You're never gonna grow the sport. You're never gonna get more money. I'm telling you, more advertisement. I know it's gonna cost more, but the more you expose the players, the product, the more money you're gonna get.
I definitely agree with that. I do agree with the whole get the NHL and ESPN, get that back on there, especially once this TV contract runs out in 2021. Just get off of NBC. Michael wanted to go next, so Michael, you're up next. Go ahead.
I agree with you in terms of accessibility, Matt. I don't agree with the methodology because at the end of the day, like you kind of mentioned, not everybody has satellite. I have satellite, but I still have to buy a package to watch the Red Wings since I live in Ohio. And obviously the NHL channel doesn't have the Red Wings every night because you have to show it equally for all the teams. But I think one way to easily get a lot of people into hockey and into the live sport and not just on TV isn't NHL games. For a preseason game with 3 of my friends last night, I spent $100. Like $30 a piece, roughly. For opening night, I spent $100. And for a random game, if I'm going to go by myself, if I want a lower bowl seat, it's $50. For people who don't have a big boy or a big girl job, that's a lot of money. You know how you can get people out to hockey games and not break your bank? ECHL, AHL. I can go to a Toledo Walleye game and get a seat on the glass for $25. Or I can go 3 rows from the glass, and I pay $18. And I'm seeing NHL prospects that might go up to the NHL someday. Like Luke Glendening played for the Walleye. Peter Mrazek played for the Walleye. Martin Furk played for the Walleye. Brian Lashoff played for the Walleye. Sensing a theme here? You're seeing NHL talent at affordable prices you can take your whole family to every weekend. And then you go, hey, I wonder how these guys are doing once they go up to the next step. And that gets you involved in the AHL. They move up from the AHL. That gets you involved in the NHL. And before you know it, you're following your new favorite team. And you didn't even know you were. And I think it's way easier. I mean, obviously you got to get the TV deals out there. And you're not seeing your AHL or ECHL teams on the TV. But you can go to their websites, and a lot of them stream the radio broadcasts for free from their website. During the playoffs last year, I was streaming the Walleye playoff games for free, or radio, that is, so that I knew exactly what's going on. So I just think that you need to start from the bottom up, get the kids involved, and go to the hockey rink and go, hey, that's cool. And if they're little enough, you get them involved in it. And that's another way. Get the kids playing it, get the kids watching it for cheap, for good quality entertainment. You're golden.
That's a really good point, honestly. Really good.
That's a good point, but I do think, like, when push comes to shove, little kids gravitate towards the guys that are playing on the high stage, like Alex Ovechkin and Vladimir Tarasenko and Sidney Crosby and, like, those players. Like, when you see a little kid, like, I used to work in a hockey shop, so I know this. You see a little kid come in the store and they see like a poster of Sidney Crosby or Alex Ovechkin, they go up to it and, you know, like they look at it, or, you know, a skates or something like that, oh, I want those because Ovechkin wears those. Like, that's where you need to pull those kids. I mean, kids are playing the game. It's not having the issue that football and basketball, or not so much basketball, but football and baseball are having, where kids aren't playing as much. Hockey doesn't have that problem. Hockey has the problem of, once you get older, it's expensive as hell to continue to play, especially if you want to play in high school and you want to play in college. That's the biggest issue. Now, I'm going to give you guys my point, but I want to keep hearing what you guys have to say. So, Kayla, you go ahead.
I mean, everyone's brought up great points so far. I would say, like, just basically 2 things. One, you know, like, obviously advertising and all of that, but also, you know, it would be a lot more helpful in my view if, you know, they played more teams on, you know, Channel 4, like the main station, NBC. If they play more teams, then Pittsburgh and Chicago. Because you know what? That's usually the only two teams that they're ever going to usually show and focus on is Pittsburgh and Chicago. And I mean, they're great teams, don't get me wrong. And at least Pittsburgh has like a valid case. They won the Stanley Cup this past year. So they have a reason to be there. The Chicago is leading again with, I forgot how many times they're going to be shown this year, but they're leading all teams again. And it's just how is that going to make just, a regular person tune into hockey if they just think that Chicago Blackhawks is the only team in the whole entire league? Because lately that's just basically what it seems like. Like, okay, they turn on the TV and, oh, Chicago Blackhawks are playing. A week later, they might want to see another, game. Oh, but it's Chicago again. And then a week later, oh, Chicago. And so, I mean, I'm not trying to get down on Chicago or anything. I mean, they're a great team. Don't get me wrong. But they need to just show more teams. Yes, I understand, people that will say, well, Chicago brings in the ratings,
They do.
The Dallas Stars don't, for example. I'll throw the Dallas Stars out there. Well, that may be true, but at the same time, how do we know that the Dallas Stars can't bring in ratings when they won't even put them on the air to see if they can generate ratings or not? It makes no sense. You gotta test it out and try it out just to see, if it'll work. And then if it works, great, but they're not going to test it out anytime soon. So I think that's just one of the main issues. Another thing really quick is just thinking about like back in like the, like the 90s, for example, my mom was a huge Red Wings fan. My whole family was. And, Detroit had a huge rivalry with Colorado, okay? And, it goes like from, there's Hall of Famers on both of these teams. There's so many. They're great, skilled players. It goes back to the storyline of how Detroit chased Patrick Waugh out of Montreal, and then Patrick Waugh comes in place for Colorado, and Detroit ends up meeting Colorado. And then, it just turned into a bloodbath because then, Claude Lemieux happened, and he hit Draper, and then McCarty, and then the whole turtle thing. Everyone knows the story. Anyway. Case in point, there's not any kind of rivalry like that in the NHL today. And I do understand that, obviously with player safety, like in full effect, it can't be, and hockey can't be what it was in the 90s. But at the same time, there can be like heated rivalries. There can be heated matchups. And, if it wasn't for Colorado and Detroit having that bloodbath series, I really think I think they put Western Conference hockey on the map. Average viewers were just tuning in to see what would happen next. Just like the casual fans, other fans of other teams would tune in. They would watch because they were like, oh, we know what's going on here. Whereas now, no one really does that much to any other team unless you're just a really super hardcore hockey fan. So I think it's more of like a storyline, I guess you could say. Like they can only hype up Crosby versus Ovechkin for so long.
Yeah.
That storyline's getting dragged out.
I think
it's not even an actual rivalry. That's the thing.
Well, the Pens and the Caps, they don't really have much history with each other, but there is hatred between the two fan bases. Crosby and Ovechkin don't really care for each other. So there is some smoke, some fire to that smoke.
Yeah, fan bases are not on the ice out there killing each other.
But I said, they did play in the playoffs last year, and they have played in the playoffs. So the more you guys do play in the playoffs, the more there will be that rivalry effect to it.
But they have to play each other more in the
Tampa
playoffs.
and Detroit.
They have to play each other more in the playoffs. I'll let you go ahead and say what you were getting ready to say before I chime in.
Here's the big one. Pittsburgh and Philly. Philly's up and coming.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, people tune in to watch the Flyers and the Penguins.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Fantastic.
That's hockey. I know it's probably just hockey fans, but do you guys remember that series in 2000? I don't know if it was 12 or 11, but the Flyers and the Penguins, James Neal and Sidney Crosby and those guys going at it, and
that was nasty.
Giroux and Simmons and the boys, like that series was nasty. That's what the NHL needs a little bit more of, like the
needs to get
Flyers
a little
and the Penguins, right? And even this whole Tampa Bay Detroit thing, that's another thing that if I were the NHL, I'd be shoving that down people's throats right now. Tampa Bay Detroit, Tampa Bay Detroit. I want to see more of that.
Yeah.
That was huge in the playoffs. They only played 5 games, and all 5 of those games were so good. The teams are not evenly matched, but the way they play make them evenly matched.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't like each other. You guys see it.
Yeah.
They don't like each other. So that's my thing. Go ahead, Matt.
Oh no, one thing, and it was from earlier actually, from when Michael was bringing up the ECHL and the AHL, in which he brought up a good point because NHL games are expensive. I kid you not, going to a game out at Staples or the Pond can be pretty expensive. He brought up exposing people to AHL and NHL. Now, Michael, for one, being keeping track of the AHL in California. The only team that I know of that has a team out in like the main city are San Diego and San Jose. For people in LA, they have to go all the way out to the Inland Empire, which is about maybe from the general vicinity of hockey fans and stuff in Los Angeles. That's almost about an hour and a half drive. That's almost a 2-hour drive. If you include traffic, it's about a 2-hour drive to get to Ontario. The issue is not enough for people who aren't in hockey cities. There aren't enough teams, major metropolitan areas to expose them to. There used to be a team, and I don't know if you know about if you're familiar about this, Michael, but there used to be a team called the Long Beach Ice Dogs.
That does
And
ring a bell.
The Long Beach Ice Dogs, they played at the Long Beach Sports Arena in Long Beach. It was accessible for people because Long Beach is basically it's not within Metro LA, but it's very accessible to Metro Los Angeles. It is very close to Metro Los Angeles. There's no more of that anymore, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
There's not any more of that in the city in cities like that. And that's kind of hard because NHL, that's the only thing we have, and we have to spend that type of money. Now, unless you stay in San Diego where there's no NHL team, or San Jose where their team plays at the same place where the Sharks play,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of hard to access, an NHL or an AHL team. Now, ECHL, really, there's no ECHL team that's close
Stockton.
anymore.
You have the Colorado Eagles, who are up, obviously not near you, but there's a couple other teams that are out
Right.
there. You have Portland, who is an AHL team. I think the team you said, I forgot what this. Repeat their name. I'm blanking.
The
I'm
Long Beach
sorry.
Ice Dogs, they're
Yeah,
no longer.
Yeah,
They're
I
no
think they
longer
were
in existence.
IHL. I think they were International Hockey League, and IHL
Right.
folded a few years ago, so that's why they closed their doors. But yeah, there's definitely a lack of teams on the West Coast. So simply saying the ECHL, AHL is the be-all, end-all, obviously that's not the case, but it's a good
Right.
first step.
Okay, so I would definitely agree with that, but we're gonna have to go to John, and then we're gonna have to go to Max, and then we're gonna have to wrap this up because we're getting really close to a time limit here. So John, you go ahead.
I just wanted to chime in here and say that the NHL should focus on marketing better nationally and locally to give the NHL a more inclusive look. And look at what the Dallas Stars have done with their youth outreach. They've created so many leagues, so many teams. So I think, don't quote me, I think they've built quite a few arenas out there in Texas. I'd like to see that more from teams. I mean, I don't know what Tampa and Florida are doing, but I'd like to see them create a league, at least a league, get a few teams together, sponsor the leagues, give them equipment and stuff. Just get the game out there. It's not for just freaking white people who grow up in the north part of the U.S. and snow ravaged areas. It's for the whole U.S., for the whole world. So I'd like to see something change marketing wise out of the NHL. Hopefully that'll come soon enough.
I would agree with John too, because a lot of the NHL should try and get try to donate more equipment to So sorry, I didn't want to cut you off, John. I just wanted to chime in there.
No, I'm finishing. No, I was done, but I think Tyler's getting anxious here to move on to whatever we have to talk to next.
No, I just wanted to go quick, and then Max is going to wrap this up. So basically what I would tell you how to grow hockey in the United States, get it on Fox, get it on ESPN, get it on all the phones so people can go and watch ESPN and Fox Sports Go and all that crap so kids can watch it on their cellular phones and iPads and tablets and whatever.
Because every kid got one.
Most kids do. Most kids do nowadays.
Yeah.
And if they don't, they have a computer. I would say the NHL's got to do a lot better of a job like the MLB and the NFL have done. The NFL has done a tremendous job with Play 60. So I know that doesn't mean play NFL football 60 minutes a day, but it means do something a day. And so basically, they're telling the kids to get active and whatever. And then the MLB has done a tremendous job with the RBI program, going into inner cities, getting players, and just showing these kids, hey, that even though you don't have the money to play AAU ball, you can still make the MLB. You can still live your dream and play baseball your whole life, and that just it gets the game in front of people. And so the NHL's got to do a better job at that, because the NHL doesn't have the problem the NFL and the MLB, and even sometimes soccer does. Like, hockey is one of those sports where you play it once, you're going to love it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like baseball where I love baseball personally, but it can be boring. It can be, to a kid, it's not the most exciting thing in the world. When you get older, it gets better. A hockey right away is like soccer. You gravitate to it because it's fast. Kids don't have high attention spans, so it's quick. It moves for them. Mm-hmm. So RBI program for the NHL would be huge. And I guess the last really big thing is, you guys have said it, marketing, but not just marketing the NHL as a brand. Market these players.
Yeah.
Market these players like the NFL and the NBA do. The NFL and the NBA do tremendous jobs marketing their players. Everyone knows who Steph Curry is. Everyone knows who LeBron James is. Everyone knows who Marshawn Lynch is. And everyone knows who Tom Brady and Peyton Manning are. Peyton Manning.
Everybody knows who Clayton Kershaw is, for God's sake.
Baseball's not so good at this either, but they're better than the NHL is. The NHL just needs to do a great job a better job at having commercials with these players.
They did it in the 90s, too.
They did do it in the 90s.
Solani. He was
That's where you lost basically ESPN. That's where basically you lost Nike, you lost ESPN, you lost those big sponsors, and they may never come back to you because of the lockouts and all that stuff. And you basically just have to prove to them we're not having any more lockouts, so come aboard. But basically that's all I would say. You have stars, you have good personalities. Show them.
Yes.
Show them.
Agreed.
Can I?
Go ahead, and then we have to wrap this up.
I'm going to take just twice as long because you said that now.
Oh, boy.
No, there was one thing, and nobody brought this up, and I'm shocked you didn't bring this up, Tyler, and I was expecting you to bring it up.
Oh, jeez.
College hockey.
Oh, yeah.
If we're sitting here, we're talking about you, because obviously You've already expanded the AHL. You're not going to do anything to the ECHL. The next best thing that's being discussed here is NCAA hockey. You're starting to see it make the venture out west now. Arizona State and U of A now has D1 hockey programs starting up in full swing. UNLV apparently is starting to start up their Division I hockey out in Vegas. Apparently that's what's going on. You have schools like USC, UCLA, Oregon, Utah, University of Colorado, Loyola Marymount, which is out in LA. You have all these other schools that are playing club hockey and have enough money to put together a Division I program. And Tyler, I know you and I were talking about this, and you said, well, you're going to have a hard time getting kids to come out west to play because the issue with juniors, which is understandable, and the issue with getting kids to leave their home areas to come out west to play. But you also are bringing up one, if you expand college hockey, if I'm the NCAA and I'm saying, look, I understand we have this Title IX situation, but we can make, this thing happen, in which the NCAA probably won't do it, but we can make this thing happen. We could get more D1 programs out there. It can happen. USC has the money to do it. All these private schools have the money to do it. I know Oregon and Oregon State got the money to do it because they got Phil Knight in their back pocket. I mean, you can make this happen, and you can grow it and everything, and you can go out and say, hey, USC is playing against Boston University. USC is playing against Cornell. USC is playing against Michigan. What kid is not going to look at that and say, wow, they play hockey out in LA? Wow, look at Los Angeles. Wow, look at these cities. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These kids are going to look at these cities because think about it. It's not hard to entice a college kid to come out west and to play hockey, especially in Los Angeles or in California. They're going to look at that and go, wow, they're finally doing this. And that's how you can grow this. And then TV rights happen because they always show college hockey on ESPN and ESPN2. You get all these network rights and everything, and it becomes a big thing. This has to happen. If it can't happen if the professional level is not doing enough, at least the college level should jump in and take the opportunity to do so. At least the NCAA should at least chime in and go, maybe we should invest in this since the NCAA is all about money. That's just what I wanted to bring up before we went off.
Yeah, I totally forgot to bring that up, and that's a very good point. Max, it's all yours.
Well, that was probably one of our best discussions we've had in a long time, and I know it's our first show back, and I think it went very smoothly. To recap really quick.
Did it, Max?
Yeah, it did, Matthew. So, recap really quick. We covered up the Red Wings, and then we had this great discussion on Team USA and basically where hockey stands in the USA compared to Canada and where they can finally, actually look succeeding. So, as Kayla has said, have her
1980 miracle on ice moment. We've only won 2 gold medals in history of the Winter Olympics. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is very sad. And just so you know, Luke Glendenning and James Neal, Kayla is available. Her birthday is tomorrow, so make sure you reach out to her if you're listening. But anyway, guys, really quick, shout out your Twitter handles, show some love. Tyler, if you could also, once we get to you, our social media accounts, I appreciate it. John, I'll start with you. Twitter handle.
My Twitter handle is RWHockeyJohn.
Kayla.
My Twitter handle is KLovesRedWings, LUVS for the loves.
Michael.
My Twitter handle is MC_Scott51. Also, follow me on Instagram at Scott51.
That's a lot of periods.
Right?
Tyler?
So basically, you can follow me at TylerWO91. You can also follow me on Instagram at TylerHockey91. And you can follow the Winged Octopus on Twitter at Winged Octopus. You can also follow us on Instagram just by simply typing in Winged Octopus. Also, guys, follow us on Facebook like us on Facebook, Winged Octopus. We post everything we do on Twitter and Instagram on there, so nothing gets left out. It's great. We're trying to grow that more, so tell your friends, tell your family, everything.
Matt?
You can follow me at Make Hockey Great in America. No, I'm kidding.
Build a wall between us and Canada.
Yeah.
I'll make the
No, you can
Canadians pay for it.
Yep.
You can follow me at True Blue Lowry 21. One thing that Tyler didn't bring up is also subscribe to the blog. Just hit the follow button on the side of the blog, on the right side of the blog. Also subscribe to our podcast and rate our podcast, please. At least take the time out to rate it. Tell us what you think. If you thought the show sucked, tell us it sucked. If you thought, the show was good, tell us it was good. If you thought, Tyler should do backflips, tell us that. But just rate it and comment on it, at least doing, and let us know how we can improve too.
What's that blog website again, brother?
Our blog website is wingedoctopus.wordpress.com. So make sure you guys check out wingedoctopus.wordpress.com. I know everybody's been asking why did it change. It will go back to wingedoctopus.com soon, but just check out, it is under wingedoctopus.wordpress.com.
And also, don't forget, we are available on Google Play and iTunes. Just type in Winged Octopus to download our episodes.
All of it is in the description box. Pointing to the description box.
As we're pointing down. Yeah, there we go. Pointing down. Everyone point down. All right. And I was really hoping I'd get more hits. I know Kayla, I had to tell the group, but my new Twitter handle for right now is at Swedish Mafia 40. And if you do not know the background story, go back to Locker Cleanout Day and then read the articles, and then we'll see why. I know Matt's super excited, but I'm very excited. The bigger Twitter handle is coming very soon. The big important Twitter handle change.
Roger Goodell.
So. But as of right now, it is Swedish Mafia 40. The S and M are capitalized. Thank you once again for tuning in. And really quick, I totally spaced in the beginning, but lack of sleep and too much work. Tyler, do you want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors?
Yeah, actually, we have two sponsors. We have at Original Sticks. Follow them for all their brand new Danny DeKaiser apparel. It actually looks really cool. And also they have recycled hockey sticks that they use as phone cases. It's really cool as well. I actually got a free one from them. It's really cool. And the other thing is my dad's website. It's not just Worcester tickets. It's Greater Worcester tickets. So basically it's tickets for all sporting events nationwide. So don't be fooled by the name.
I'm glad you got a free phone case. So I'm like, where's my free phone case? But
yeah, where's my phone case? I want a phone case.
What the?
What's going on?
Talk to them. Don't talk to me.
Tyler,
I'm about to talk to them.
You just lost your game privileges, okay? You just lost your game privileges. All right. As John, Kayla, Michael. What?
It's my birthday. I want a phone case.
Okay. Actually, really quick, guys. Let's sing really quick. One.
No.
That was so wow.
I will fly out to where you're at, Max, and legitly fight you. You're not doing this.
Drop the gloves.
You can't find me. But all right. So as Jonathan, Kayla, Michael, Tyler, and Matthew, this is Max for Winged Octopus. Thank you for tuning in. We're back. We'll be back here probably within a week for our weekly Wings podcast to recover the preseason and prepare for the season. The last ride at the Joe. I know we're all going to cry.
Sad.
But, it is very sad. But thank you once again for tuning in. Sorry it's a little run late, but we had great discussions tonight. Thanks for tuning in. Stay classy, Hockey Town. We're back.
Get off the air.